Continuing on in the Trump shooting investigation, we're going to examine whether the shooter's rifle will fit in the backpack, because many people doubt it. We'll also cover how the Trump shooter may have gotten on the property undetected with that gun. And if the Trump shooter really was a half a mile away walking by all of the vendors at 4:26 p.m., then who was it that the Butler officer had spotted there and texted to everybody at 4:26 p.m.? We're going to take a look at this as well. Now, you know that a number of our conspiracy theory friends, they're already going to be saying, hey, you know what? I don't think they got that rifle in that bag. There's a lot of people, they just can't come to terms with the fact that this shooter was able to get up on that roof with that rifle without being seen. But you know what? I have the answer to that. Check it out. So if you come right here in the photo that the FBI gave us with the backpack and the gun in the same photo, I'm going to go ahead and grab this little piece here and bring it over here and see. So now it looks like it might stick out a few inches out of the top. However, remember, this backpack is deep. So I'm going to bring it right here to the corner, and I'm going to rotate it like this. And that buys us a lot more space here. But remember now, we're not just talking 2 dimensions. This thing can start at this corner at the high and go deep into the other end, the bottom of the backpack in this corner. And I think it'll just barely fit. Now, you guys can let me know, can this muzzle here, can this be unscrewed or anything like that? Or did he just really have it in there tightly jammed? So that's sort of the question. I would like to see video of this being put inside that bag here, because it does look pretty tight, but I think it is doable. And keep in mind also that the dimensions of this backpack are not set in stone. They're not like rock solid, hard material. This is fabric, which can bend and poke out a little bit here and there. So maybe it could fit. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments if you think that they could get this rifle into that backpack. So you see, I have no problem with the idea that the rifle will easily fit into that backpack. Now, the other question that people are asking me about this is, and I think these are probably more distractors than really people wondering about, what was going on. But I get this question a lot. How did he get past the magnetometers with the rifle? So that's why they don't believe he could have gotten up there with it. Well, because that area was not part of the secure area. So take a look at this. So when you look at the rally site, the only area that was Secret Service protected was this whole rally site area here. So there was a fenced-in area, and this is where the crowd was. And all of these people had to go through security checkpoints and everything, and magnetometers and all of that. But over here, there was no security. In fact, there wasn't supposed to be anybody over here, even though we had a few small crowds of people gathered around these trees, as we saw from all of those witness videos. But this area was not part of the Secret Service protection zone, and so anybody over here did not pass through any type of security. So that's how you get over there with the gun. And if we still don't know where his car was parked. I wish they would divulge more information about that. Where did they find his car? But we saw on the dash cam that he came across the street over here to get onto the property at some point during the day. Now, he had been on and off the property, but somewhere around here in this area is likely where he got onto this property, because he could not get on over here. There's a chain link fence that goes all the way around, and here's another chain link fence over here. Now, we also need to talk about the FBI minutes from their call the other day that I didn't get to in last night's video, but this is pretty important about the timeline. I don't know why the police officer, when he sent this text message, why he didn't send a picture of the subject as well. Because he's saying, look, this guy drove in here and parked and, right alongside us and all that. Review shows the subject was in fact near the farm show airstrip, walking past a row of vendors outside the secure perimeter about a half mile away from the grounds at 4:26 p.m. So that kind of... So if you go back and look at the police dash cam video of right after the shooting, so you can see that motorcycle that's parked there. And this became the subject of some scrutiny a little bit later on here, when some of the other officers come by with a canine dog, and you're going to see them. See here, he's checking out the bike. And so this bike belongs to a guy that was over on the grassy area alongside Dave Stewart, who, as you recall, took that now famous but shaky video, and he was the owner of this bike. And when he was talking to the police afterwards, they supposedly weren't allowing him to take it right away. So I don't know when they gave it back to him, but here you can see they're opening it up, they're inspecting it. And so that's why I believe this might be the person that was referenced in that text message by the police officer. Although, again, I don't know why the officer didn't take a picture of him and why it was just kind of left open. And, it should have been like what the first officer did, what Officer Greg Nickel did. He took a picture of the shooter down below and then sent it out in that group text. But we don't know why this officer did not. And then they also provided this photo yesterday, but this was not taken by the FBI. This was taken by the local police. And so that's why it's a little bit more rudimentary in nature and not very high resolution. And I wish they had shown like the entire car, front, side, back, and everything, so we could see everything about it. But apparently it has a trunk, so I think we can rule out that white van as a red herring. Then the FBI also released this here. This is from the media call. So these were these prepared remarks from the Pittsburgh special agent in charge there. And here's what he had to say. So they've worked towards two goals here. One is to identify the subject's motives for the attempted assassination and determine whether he worked with any co-conspirators or conducted this act alone. Now, they do say here that to date, we have not uncovered any credible evidence indicating the subject conspired with anyone else. Now, I know a lot of people are poo-pooing that, but hey, I guess if you can provide some evidence, that'll change their mind. They haven't ruled it out completely, but they're just saying to date, we have not uncovered any. And I've been getting a lot of questions about this here. This, of course, is all, bogus nonsense, but people are still asking because they hear it or they see it posted. But these guys are asking about, the 1.5 million in foreign accounts that this guy supposedly had. That's all been debunked. It's false. A lot of it stemmed probably from Instagram posts like this one here, where you go for that bastion of truth, folks. But you can see they had already flagged it as false information there. So right here, they're kind of distancing themselves from apparently saying anything bad about the Secret Service, because it says it's not the FBI's role to investigate the actions, the security posture, or the responsibilities of the Secret Service or local law enforcement related to the rally. Then he says we also remain in contact with the subject's family members, who have been extremely cooperative with our investigation. But yet they lawyered up the other day with a big fancy law firm, so I wonder if they are possibly seeing some kind of litigation coming down the pike for them. So they looked at his online searches and stuff, and look at this, in late September 2023, and an account connected to him was used to search the former president's campaign schedule and upcoming Pennsylvania appearances. And then from April until July, he searched campaign events for both former President Trump and Joe Biden, events scheduled to take place in Western Pennsylvania. So my guess is he didn't have a preference who, he just wanted to kill somebody. This just sounds to me like somebody that's really whacked out and all he wants to do is kill people. He wasn't like against Trump for any particular reason, and probably not against Biden for any particular reason. Sounds more like he's trying to make a name for himself. So this is interesting. On July 6th, the same day that he registered for the rally, these are the things he searched for. How far was Oswald from Kennedy? Where will Trump speak from at Butler Farm Show? Butler Farm Show podium and Butler Farm Show photos. On July 8th, he searched for AGR International. How about that, huh? And then on July 9th, he searched ballistic calculator. And then on July 10th, he searched weather in Butler. See, but look at this. In the month leading up to the shooting, he conducted more than 60 searches related to President Biden and former President Trump. And then on July 5th, he searched for when is the DNC convention. And then this is interesting here, regarding the improvised explosives found in the shooter's vehicle, as well as devices found in his bedroom. The subject conducted multiple searches pertaining to explosive devices as early as September 2019, continuing through this summer. So this guy's been pretty whacked out for a number of years, it seems. Here's the searches he did: detonating cord, blasting cap, how to make a bomb from fertilizer. That's from the Oklahoma City bombing, if you remember back in, I think it was 94 or 95. How do remote detonators work? The subject also searched for ammonium nitrate, that's that fertilizer stuff, and other materials consistent with the manufacturing of explosive devices. So it says here that the FBI's lab determined that the components used by the subject were legal to purchase and readily available online. And then continuing on the rifle analysis, so this should answer some of the questions that we were talking about in last night's video. It says, additionally, regarding the subject's rifle, the FBI Laboratory Division successfully test-fired the weapon, concluding it was and remains fully operational. They also positively matched all 8 shell casings located on the roof with the subject's rifle. That makes me a little nervous knowing that, because you know what? That means when he sat up and he turned the gun towards the audience there, the other witnesses, that's when the Secret Service sniper came in and shot him. But if they hadn't shot him when he did, that means his gun was operational, even though the SWAT officer had busted up that stock there. So he was probably, who knows how many seconds away from killing more people, because he had the gun aimed right at them. Ooh, that's a scary thought right there. Very unnerving. FBI also wanted to address the incorrect reporting that's been going on. So what they mentioned here first was that on the encrypted email accounts, he had overseas encrypted email accounts. And I think this is where a lot of these bogus claims came out, that there was bank accounts. So people tried to twist like little bits of truth into complete falseness here. So he said, we understand these accounts were encrypted. However, the level of encryption was no more sophisticated than any standard widely used internet-based email service. He said, we successfully accessed the information from these accounts and appropriately analyzed their content. However, we continue to identify and exploit the subject's accounts. So they got in the email accounts. No mention of any bank accounts. And then they addressed the release of the crime scene, which we had talked about on a video the other day. And it says here, second, regarding the release of the crime scene, the FBI did release the crime scene at the Butler Fairgrounds as well as the AGR complex to the property owners in a timely manner. In fact, we released these sites on a rolling basis, but only after completing a thorough processing of each location, exhausting all efforts to collect any items of evidentiary value. Prior to releasing each site, we followed all appropriate evidence gathering procedures and completed the final release of the scene 7 days after the attack. Cleaning of the biological evidence. Third, regarding the cleaning of the AGR roof, the FBI followed established evidentiary policies and procedures for the return of crime scenes to the property owner. This included cleaning the biological material from the roof only after ensuring we collected all relevant evidence. And then they're addressing the release of the subject's body. After rendering the scene safe and following our established evidence gathering procedures, the FBI contacted the Butler County Coroner's Office. Subsequently, the coroner removed the body from the scene and conducted a death investigation. The Butler County Coroner's Office then deferred to have the Allegheny County Office of the Medical Examiner conduct the autopsy. Once Allegheny County completed the autopsy, the Butler County Coroner's Office consulted with the FBI asking if there were any additional necessary investigative steps with respect to the body. The FBI and the Pennsylvania State Police then concurred with Butler County Coroner's Office decision to release the remains to the subject's family. He says, I want to stress that it is not standard procedure or practice for the FBI or any law enforcement agency to request that the coroner or medical examiner maintain indefinite custody of a deceased subject's body once the investigative purpose of our agency and our partner agencies are completed. I would also like to mention that the FBI is now in possession of the subject's autopsy and toxicology reports from the coroner's office. The autopsy report indicated the subject was pronounced deceased at 6:25 as a result of gunshot wound to the head. All reviewable evidence collected from the AGR roof and from the subject's body are consistent with the round fired by the Secret Service sniper. Additionally, the toxicology report revealed negative results, quote, for alcohol and drugs of abuse. And then here they addressed about why they released the first responders so quickly. So he said here, we had no reason to hold or detain any first responder as the law enforcement community assembled in Butler was actively responding to public safety risks and assisting with the investigative activity throughout the night. So it says here, our priorities that night, as shared by local law enforcement, were to secure the scene, preserve evidence, and ensure public safety. And then also it says here, they got that second video from a local business showed the subject climbed to the roof of the AGR complex at approximately 6:05 p.m. I wish they would release that video, but I kind of showed you where I thought it might have been from that ice cream shop across the street in last night's video. And then it says here, video from local business, police dash cam, and police body cameras confirm the suspect's movement across multiple AGR building roofs between 6:05 and 6:08 p.m. So far I don't disagree with anything on there. Finally, at 6:11, the subject fired 8 rounds before being neutralized. And the FBI official statement right now is that the overall finding is the subject was only on the roof for approximately 6 minutes prior to the shooting between 6:05 and 6:11 p.m. Now, don't stretch that out and start making, false claims too. He wasn't in position for 6 minutes. He was making his trip along the roof and probably got into position or was noticed crawling up that final part of the roof over the one-story building. He was noticed by witnesses climbing up and over and everything and doing his little bear claw crawling. That happened at 6:09 p.m., only 2 minutes before the shooting. So he probably didn't even really get into position until maybe 90 seconds before the shooting or so, somewhere around there. And one other thing too, make sure you check out these 2 videos over here, because if you're new to the channel and you haven't seen the rest of these videos, you definitely want to binge watch those, plus all of the other engineering disasters we've covered here on the channel. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.